All right, guys. So I'm gonna do another story time today because I guess some people like these stories, keeping my channel active. I'm gonna tell the story about my high school reunion. Okay, this got a good reaction on stream. So, what was my high school reunion like? Right. So first of all, you got to remember when I got kicked out of high school. I got kicked out of high school really early on, and I also got kicked out of high school right when I started becoming quotation marks cool, right? So I was like changing a lot at that time, right? So a lot of people didn't remember or know what I look like supposedly now, right? So I had gotten a message that I could still come to this high school reunion. So I'm like, oh shit, okay, I guess I haven't seen people in however many fucking years it was, right? Technically longer than most people because I got kicked out of school, right? So anyway, I get to the high school reunion. I'm looking around, trying to see what's going on. I think like anybody, I'm hoping there's some like ugly ducklings, or I'm hoping some of the old hot girls that were hot before were still hot. But personally, for me, there was no real ugly ducklings or anything like that. And all the hot girls, 90% of them, all kind of looked like Doritos. You know what I mean? They just tanned way too much, and it wasn't a good story, right? So anyway, I'm still trying to enjoy myself. I'm getting like, doing whatever, right? And this girl comes up to me and she's like, oh my god. She's like, you went to our high school? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, I feel like my whole high school was ruined that I don't remember you. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I got kicked out really early, so it doesn't matter. She's like, no, no, really. I feel like my whole life was ruined now that I haven't seen you, right? And I'm like, thanks, right? Anyway, so, people are getting drunk, whatever. And I eventually go to sit down at the table, right? And this girl sits next to me, right? And man, she's already getting pretty wasted and pretty fucking horny, dude, right? So she starts flirting with me pretty hardcore. And eventually she starts like kissing me and all this kind of shit. And I kind of like try to push her away. I'm like, hey, calm down, it's okay. Hey, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, you're drunk. I don't want to take advantage of you. Shh, go over there, right? And she's like, no, no, take advantage of me now, right? And I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, right? And I guess that line is actually pretty hot if you think about it, because she really did say like, no, take advantage of me now, right? And she ends up like pushing me against the table, right? And we like we fall on the table, and like all the drinks spill all over us. I don't know what it was, because again, I don't really drink because of health reasons, but maybe some wine or champagne or whatever the fuck it was, right? So this wine and champagne spreads all over us. I'm like trying to push her off me and all this kind of stuff. And then I see in the corner of my eye, there's this dude who has been like watching me turn down these girls, right? And he gives me a look. And he kind of like whispers under his breath, like, hey, call me, right? He's like, hey, call me later. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, dude, does this dude think that I'm gay or something? Is that why that dude thinks that I'm turning down these girls? And I'm like, holy shit, this is becoming a clusterfuck very quickly, right? So I push her off and I try to ignore who I think is a gay dude trying to get something from me, and I kind of like mosey on over and I try to go somewhere else, right? And besides that, there were some other girls there, like this one girl who, actually had big lips back in the day. And I actually do like big lips, right? She came over to me and she's like, oh, Clayton, my mom saw you. And she's like, oh, who's that blonde hair guy? You should try to get with him. And I'm like, oh, no, I knew Clayton. I used to work with him. I could never do anything with him. We could never do anything, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know, why not, right? I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, I was like, anyway, everyone's getting pretty drunk and fucked up. I think I'm just gonna leave. So I start to like move on over, right? And the drunk girl starts to like follow me. She's like, oh, let me come too. I'm like, no, 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 you go over there, right? And so I'm like trying to get away from this like drunk girl, right? And so then I drive over and people are going to this like an after party at a bar, right? So I'm driving, and this is how I drive, like drive to the bar, blah, 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 blah. And I get out of the car and I see drunk girl. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? And she's like, sorry, daddy. Sorry, daddy. And I kind of do like the daddy thing, but I was like, dude, you were way too drunk. You should not be driving. You need to get away. She's like, sorry, daddy. Are you mad that I followed you, daddy? Sorry. And I'm like, okay, just don't drink and drive. It's like very dangerous. And so I'm trying to like move around. I get to the bar, right? And I get to the bar, and there's no real like hot girls in there or anything. So I'm just kind of talking to some dudes. You know what I mean? Just kind of catching up a little bit. And anyway, so some of these girls on this are like, oh my god, Clayton has muscles, and they're like, ooh, and they start trying to like run and like straight up. These girls start trying to like tackle me like dead weight, like boom, start boom bumping into me. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude, settle the fuck down. Like, Clayton, but you have so many muscles, you can do it, right? And I'm like, girls are literally trying to like knock me over, right? So eventually, the one drunk girl, she gets like a head start, dude, and she's like, boom, and she runs into me and she like straight up tackles me and knocks me to the ground, dude. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And anyway, and there's other dudes there, and like, and they're kind of like, Clayton, I thought you had muscles. You can't pick up a girl. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, dude? This girl's fucking straight dead weighting me, dude. She's trying to like linebacker tackle me, dude. Anyway, so then this fucking bouncer comes over to me, and the bouncer sees that I fell down. And then the bouncer is like, dude, he's like, oh, you're way too drunk to be here. You're falling all over the place. You need to leave. And I'm like, dude, it's not me. This fucking girl is like tackling me, dude. Do you see this? He's like, nope, didn't see it. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. I'm like, giving this girl a bad look. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. So I get kicked out of the bar and I'm leaving, right? And the girl starts following me again. She's like, sorry, daddy. Sorry, daddy. I'm like, when should I thank you to be fucking civil? Get the fuck over. And I'm like trying to like push her away, right? And I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ. I'm like, okay. Time out. I'm like, a beep, 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 a beep, 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 boop, 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 boop. And I just give her my number. I'm like, okay, here's my number. You can call me another day, dude. Don't drive. Get someone to take you home. You are completely fucked up. Anyway, so I'm like, boop, boop, boop. And I go to this, so that night ended basically. And I think we went to some hotel. And there was some like after party thing. And, just some dudes basically. Nothing too crazy, but dudes just like, oh, Clayton, you probably could have like fucked all those girls, right? And I'm like, yeah, I can guess, right? He's like, no, really, why didn't you fuck all those girls? And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So then I get home. Next day, I get a call from this girl, right? And I'm an idiot. And she's like, do you want to hang out? And I'm like, and I do myself a thinking. I'm like, not super 10, but I guess, right? So I decide to hang out with her and I go over there the next day or something like that, right? Try to make it work, right? Anyway, this girl is completely fucked up. Right when I get there, this girl is already a complete fucking mess, right? She's like, she's like drinking and smoking all over the place. This girl is going fucking crazy, dude. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm like, dude, are you okay? And she's like, she's like drinking and smoking all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? And she's like, Clayton, I think we need more beer. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Are you fucking sure, dude? And she's like, yeah, we need no more beer and more cigarettes. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have to drive, right? So I'm like, do. We go drive, get some more beer, alcohol, drinks. Of course, she's the only one doing it. She's getting hammered, dude. She's like, she's smoking, drinking all over the place. She's totally fucking wasted. And she's like, Clayton, aren't you going to do anything? And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I guess. And I'm like, I guess I'll smoke a joint with you. And so we smoke a joint or something like that. And then she's finally like, Clayton, I need to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, right? So anyway, she's in the bathroom and I just like look outside of the window and I'm like overlooking the city and I'm like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? And I'm like, how the hell do I get out of here, right? I'm like contemplating my life, overlooking the city as the sun had already set and with the lights or whatever in the sky, you know what I mean? The cool breeze in the air from the night. I'm like, what the fuck do? I got to get the fuck out of here, dude. Anyway, so she opens the bathroom door and she is completely fucking butt naked. And she's like, Clayton, just look at them. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, will you just touch them at least? And I'm like, I guess, right? I mean, she did have some pretty big titties, let me tell you. Her titties were pretty big, right? So I kind of like grabbed me some titties. And then we like went over to the bed. And thank God she eventually fucking passed out. And I just kind of like gave her a little like pat on the back. I was like, and I'm like, okay, she's asleep. And I fucking like ran out of there, dude. So I ran out of there, dude. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck have I gotten myself into, right? Anyway, and so then that's pretty much the main high school reunion story. I guess after that we did hang out one time, and I guess if just to finish that story, the only thing is we hung out, me, her, and some like other girlfriends, right? And we all went out, and at some point they like went to they had said they had to go to the bathroom, right? And I'm like, okay, right? And then the one girlfriend came out, and she's like, yeah, Clayton, and she's like, so and so, they can't come out. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, anytime we say your name, she starts to throw up. I guess she's just really nervous whenever she thinks about you. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? And she's like, yeah, so whenever we say your name, she's like, "Wah!" And she throws up. And I'm like, anyway, I guess that's pretty much, the high school reunion story. I don't know. I'm not sure if this was as funny as it was on stream because I've already told it a couple of times now. But, sometimes people ask for these weird fucking stories, you know what I mean, in my life. But that's kind of the high school reunion story. Um, Excuse me. I guess if anyone wants to know any other stories, let me know. I can retell them. I know people like these stories that I've told on stream, I guess. So that's my high school reunion story. The end.